Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show for you. Looks like there's some retirement rumors about old Nick Saban. And Paul Feinbaum pretty much stated, he said he's on short time. He just picked up a $17.5 million mansion on the beach.
Get ready for another incredible lifestyles, your VIP journey into the lives and loves of today's winners who really know how to enjoy the great things of life.
So there's a lot of smoke. I don't know if there's some actual fire, but we're going to get into it. This is a story by Saturday Down South by Paul Harvey. Not that Paul Harvey. It says Feinbaum claims Nick Saban is on short time. He said Feinbaum pointed to Auburn's push in recruiting. You know, they just flipped a five-star not a couple of days ago. He then pointed to a report on Saban recently purchasing a substantial home on Jupiter Island in Florida. While Feinbaum admitted he doesn't know when Saban might retire, he does believe that purchase indicates a coach lining up his eventual retirement home. And I'll actually show you what he had to say.
I hate to wax poetic, but I remember at the beginning of my career, another Auburn coach flipped a player away from Bear Bryant, and suddenly we started going, I wonder, is this a moment in time that we're going to go back to? And to me, that's what last week reminded me of. Saban is on short time. I mean, come on. Nick, it came out in a publication today in Palm Beach. Matt, Nick Saban spent $17.5 million buying a home on Jupiter Island. His neighbors, Tiger Woods.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the area.
You know the drill.
We got a place in West Palm. I know exactly where they're at.
So I mean, I'm just asking my friends in Alabama, if your head coach just dropped $17.5 million for, that's not, is that a weekend home, Matt? I don't think so. And by the way, he's already got a weekend home in Florida, on the other coast. He's got a lake house in Georgia. I mean, that to me sounds like a retirement home. I don't know. Am I crazy? I don't have a home in Florida. You understand that locale, but that's what it sounds like to me. And maybe $17.5 million is not a lot of money to Nick Saban, but that really is pretty remarkable. And I think, you know, I don't know when we're going to retire, but Hugh Freeze will be at Auburn after Nick Saban's at Alabama. I can mark that one down pretty easily.
And I want to get into the storylines going into Alabama's camp in just a minute. But when you look at Nick Saban holistically and how college football, and I want to bring in college basketball for this conversation, has changed coaches, because the legends of the game, Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, even our guy at Villanova, Jay Wright, these are Coach K. These are coaches that were legends that outwardly said, Paul, man, I can't keep up nowadays. I can't keep up with the portal and the NIL and everything that goes into being a successful college coach. I'm not saying Nick Saban doesn't have the resources, the brain, and the want to deal with all the portal and everything in between, but this is not Nick Saban's college football from a decade ago.
No, and the signs are there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I actually thought he was going to retire when this whole NIL hit and the portal, because he didn't like it. If you'll remember, he didn't want kids getting paid because he knew that he'd have to relinquish power that he could hold over them, especially the transfer portal. You know, if a guy cuts up and causes trouble, you can't put him on the bench and he sits there for a year. You know, he'll just leave. He's gone. So that had to frustrate him. Then they're making money, and now they're buying the fancy cars, they're doing what they want. So, you know, a lot of what he's used to is no longer there. Now, he hit it hard in the recruiting battles last year and had a heck of a class, the best class about ever, with a ton of five stars. I'm wondering if he's got one more run in him and then he's done. Because to buy an almost $20 million home down in Florida, which he could have done at any time, and he's already got two other homes besides the one he lives in now, doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're planning out your retirement. And the guy's over 70 years old. It makes sense. Trying to be a head coach right now with the different commitment dates, the early commitment date, then the February date, and all the portal stuff, and then graduate seniors can just do whatever they want. It's really difficult, and the NIL's driven him about half crazy.
You know, I have Alabama friends who would never criticize Nick Saban, but they say the reason we, meaning Alabama, didn't win the last 2 years and by the way, they came in second and fifth, were coaching. And all the criticism goes to the coordinators, Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding.
Yeah, and he fired those two guys. You don't finish second or fifth in the country when you're Nick Saban's offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. You'll get shown the door very quickly. You either win or you're out.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about?
You're either first or you're last.
Who used to be a head coach in the NFL, who he got rid of last year. And, there's so much blame to go around. And you just have to wonder. I don't know, Matt. I mean, we all see things differently, but he's going to Italy. He's partaking in a Ferrari dealership. He's buying nearly a $20 million beach home. I mean, it sounds like a guy who may have discovered life after all these years. And maybe the most important thing isn't winning his 8th national championship.
How dare you?
Yep. I don't know how many years he's got left. I'm certainly glad we got that victory against him last year because, look, I've told you folks, he's Emperor Palpatine, and we had to deal with him, and we finally did.
Yeah. Only now, at the end, do you understand?
We'll see how we do down in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a very tough environment. That'll be our toughest game. That's, in my opinion, that's our toughest game because it's on the road and you're playing Alabama.
Alabama!
I think Georgia at home will not be as tough because we'll have the environment in our favor. But it's going to be rough. But I just don't know how many more. If he wins the national championship this year, is he gone? I don't know what more does he have to play for? And all these movements and having to constantly deal with recruiting and all the issues of guys coming and going, it just doesn't make sense that he would stay much longer. Anyway, I did want to cover these retirement rumors because they're heating up pretty much big time. And then losing that 5-star the other day, Nick doesn't lose 5 stars. So kind of interesting. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC and all that good stuff. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. I'd appreciate it. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll love. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.